Along with multiple other 2021 improvements, EHNAC now offers options to facilitate the submission of your responses. In this tutorial, we'll provide a brief walkthrough of the submission process itself using the new Excel workbook. In addition to the submission process changes, we'll also talk about what is contained in the new self-assessment package, where to find information about the new process in the Read This First document, and provide a brief review of the new Excel workbook and how to go about filling that in. Based on feedback from our candidates, we've made this new workbook available as an option, or one can continue to respond via the individual Word documents. However, EHNAC's 2021 strategic plan calls for the development of additional automated tools, including the full automation of the self-assessment submission process. Please let us know if you'd like to participate by offering feedback as we work through these automation changes in the near future. Our long-term goal is to fully automate the submission process. Our short-term goal is to provide the Excel workbook option to be used on a voluntary basis instead of responding to each individual Word document if you choose. A detailed demonstration follows. The self-assessment package will have additional files related to the new process. There are two documents highlighted in this image. The first highlighted item is the Read This First document. We'll go over the information contained in this document in a minute, but first we'll provide an introduction to the other highlighted item. The second highlighted item is the actual Excel workbook itself. If you choose this method of submission, you'll want to use this file. The first thing you should do is rename the file named org name to your own organization's name to ensure the uniqueness of your selected workbook. Now let's take a look at the Read This First document. There have been considerable changes to this document with the incorporation of new submission methods. Organizations now have an additional submission option using an Excel workbook. If organizations still choose to use the Microsoft Word documents called the Legacy option, instructions in the Read This First document cover that as well. Focus on section 3C of the Read This First document for instructions on either method of submission. Let's familiarize ourselves with the new workbook. First, on the instructions worksheet, you'll find a step-by-step walkthrough of the process and a table listing organizational codes. Enter a Y beside each code that is in scope for your organization. Note that G for general must be designated Y regardless of organizational scope, or the self-assessment will be rejected. Next, on the self-assessment worksheet, you'll find a complete listing of all criteria for the program. Based on your responses on the Instructions tab, criteria that are not in scope for your organization will be designated NA in column A. Do not enter a response to these criteria. The top row on this tab will show statistics indicating the total number of mandatory and applicable criteria for the assessment, as well as a counter that will automatically update as you work to indicate your progress. Finally, the Documentation Artifacts worksheet is where you'll enter the exact file name for every document cited as supporting evidence in the self-assessment. These file names must exactly match the names of files you provide in the appendix folder. If one piece of evidence, such as a sample of trading partner agreement, supports multiple criteria, you only need to list it once on this worksheet. You can use the drop-down selector on the self-assessment worksheet to cite it for as many criteria as are applicable. This example of an appendix folder shows how the actual evidence files are loaded. To reiterate, the file names within the Documentation and Artifacts tab of the workbook must exactly match the names of the files you provide in the appendix folder. Hyperlinks are no longer required using either method of submission. It will be important to provide the site reviewer with sufficient information within the response. For example, the section numbers or page numbers, something in order to expedite the site reviewer's analysis of each piece of evidence. Please reach out to EHNAC Operations team should you have additional questions, or if you wish to schedule a call to request a statement of work for either or both programs.